electoral funding has remained a central issue in the larger issue of criminalization of politics. Analyze, discuss measures that have been taken by the government to resolve this issue. So let's see the keywords. First is electoral funding has remained a central issue in the larger issue of criminalization of politics. Analyze and discuss measures that have been taken by the government to resolve this issue. Now make sure that you understand the core of this question, so it doesn't focus upon just the electoral funding, but it says that the larger issue is criminalization of politics. So you need to discuss criminalization of politics in more detail. So let's see the structure. First, in the introduction, you can provide the context that approximately, first you can mention criminalized facts regarding criminalization of politics. So it has been found that approximately 43% of MPs in 2019 had pending criminal cases against them. So this shows the abysmal state of our politics. And after that, for value addition, you can further say that in 2004, the percentage was 24%. Similarly, in 2019, it was 30%. In 2014, it was 34%. And in 2019, it was the highest, that is 43%. So it has consistently increased over the years. The pending cases against the pending criminal cases against the MPs have consistently increased over the years. After giving this introduction, you can jump to the body part. You need to address criminalization of politics, reasons. So the question says that electoral funding has remained a central issue. The first and foremost reason would be electoral funding. And after that, you will discuss other issues as well. So in the electoral funding, you can present facts first that around 55,000 crore were spent during 2019 Lok Sabha elections. And this is a report by Center for Media Studies that approximately 55,000 crore rupees were spent during the 2019 elections. And in 20 years, election expenditure has increased by 6 times. So you can first give such facts, and after that you can mention that electoral funding under the conduct of election rules. Under the conduct of election rule, there are caps on the expenditure by a candidate. So in a bigger constituency, in bigger states like UP, Bihar, etc., the Lok Sabha candidate limit is 90 lakh. So this much a candidate can spend. This is the limit on a particular candidate in Lok Sabha, in case of Lok Sabha election in big states, and similarly 40 lakh in legislative assembly elections. And similarly for smaller states, the limitation is 75 lakh when it comes to Lok Sabha elections and 28 lakhs when it comes to legislative assembly elections. Now the issue is that there is no capping on the expenditure by political parties. So expenditure limit is there on candidates but not on the political parties, and that's why such tremendous amount of spending is witnessed during the elections. So this is our first reason, the flaw in the conduct of election rules. And after that, you can also mention issue of electoral bonds. So the anonymity under electoral bonds, it provides for increased nexus between politicians and criminals, etc. So this anonymity also hampers it also further promotes the criminalization of politics. After that, you can further mention, so this is pertaining to our electoral funding. And now other reasons would be, so first we have addressed this part. Now other reasons are lack of political will, that is parliamentary, this is basically a parliamentary responsibility to amend Representation of People's Act 1951, but Parliament has repeatedly failed to amend this RPA. And after that, you can mention violation of Model Code of Conduct due to lack of enforcement of laws. So Model Code of Conduct has been violated very often, and the enforcement of laws also doesn't take place in case of breach of Model Code of Conduct. And then criminals also generally witness a higher chances of getting elected. So political parties, that's why include them in their parties. So these are your overall reasons behind criminalization of politics. Now you need to discuss the measures that have been taken by the government to resolve this issue. In the measure, you can mention formation of committees, like Dinesh Goswami Committee and Inderjeet Committee. These committees have prescribed for state funding of elections, which can tackle the issue of criminalization of politics ultimately. And after that, you can also mention electoral bond scheme, because the intent behind it was to curb the issue of black money. However, it has failed to do so, but this was a measure by the government. And after mentioning such measures, you can come to the conclusion part, that what needs to be done. Ultimately, basically, this is a way forward: making election funding more transparent, increase transparency in election funding, then amending RPA, which needs political will, and then basically this amendment needs to be brought so as to ban the candidates who have serious or heinous criminal cases pending against them. So this amendment needs to be brought. And then further, ultimately, as a concluding remark, you can say that a multi-stakeholder approach, which involves government, judiciary, civil society, Election Commission of India, and moreover a massive behavioral change amongst the voters. So this multi-stakeholder approach is needed to resolve this overall issue of criminalization of politics.